Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to another episode of Dinosaur Facts. Today I sit here reading a script to you that I was too lazy to organize under any specific theme, so we're going to recount some random dinosaur facts that don't really have much to do with each other. Remember to like and subscribe or you'll get pooed on by the Platypelodon. But first I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor for this video. There isn't one, but you missed out. I will say anything for money. Prehistoric crocodiles were fucking weird. There are some animal groups on this planet that have found a strategy so overpowered that they've had little to no reason to innovate over the years. Spiders, sharks, horseshoe crabs for God knows why, as well as crocodiles. First evolving 235 million years ago, right after the dinosaurs, crocodiles have barely had to switch things up. I mean, when you think about it, they do have a pretty sweet life. Sit in the water, wait for big dumbass creature to get too close, drag him to his watery grave, and then sit there for another year before you have to eat again. But some crocodilomorphs have broken the mold over the years and freed themselves from their evolutionary shackles. Early crocodiles like Hesperosuchus had slender, upright bodies and didn't look much like a croc at all, more like a lizard on stilts. Some, like Stomatasuchus, probably ate more like whales do, filtering water through many small teeth to catch small prey. Probably a result of all the bigger and meaner crocodiles in its environment telling it what to do. One such mean crocodile may have lived like Caprosuchus, an agile and land-dwelling predator. This freak was clearly a result of a monstrous attack against nature, like a crocodile breeding with a Wendigo. Caprosuchus likely hunted smaller dinosaurs on land, chasing them down like big cats today. I can't speak for everyone, but at least for me, I am not very comfortable with the idea of a crocodile that can not only leave the immediate vicinity of the water, but can also run me down like an Olympic track star. So respectfully, fuck you. Bavarisuchus lived a similar lifestyle, but said, I think I would like more horse, and made actual hooves. We also had many smaller, more docile crocodilomorphs. Rat crocs, dog crocs, armadillo crocs. Scientists are really bad at naming things. These guys used their vicious jaws and teeth to dig up plants and insects instead. Metriorhynchus took the crocodiles out to the sea, where they evolved actual flippers instead of those stupid stubby fuck legs. And finally, Sarcosuchus and Dinosuchus saw all of this evolution run amok and decided enough with this liberal nonsense. We're taking crocodiles back to the water. Oh, and then they grew to be 50 feet long. For some reason. But even with all these attempts to be interesting, the one design that has prevailed time and time again is this guy. So whenever you look at one of these fellas, lazily awaiting its next meal, acting as nature's RNG machine, just remember, they tried. Birds are lizard-hipped dinosaurs. For the past 137 years of paleontology, dinosaurs have been split into two main supergroups, Saurischiia and Ornithoschia, or the lizard-hipped and bird-hipped dinosaurs. This is because scientists noticed dinosaur hips come in one of two forms, one that looks more like modern lizard hips, and one that looks more like modern bird hips. Who'da thunk it? Ornithoschia holds the ornithopods like Parasaurolophus, the marginocephalians like Triceratops and Pachycephalosaurus, and the thyreophorans like Stegosaurus and Ankylosaurus. Saurischiia is home to the long-necked sauropods and prosauropods, as well as the theropods, including every carnivorous dinosaur, some herbivorous and omnivorous species, as well as every bird you've ever met. That's great and all. You're not new to this channel. You know some dinosaurs identify as birds. It's 2025. Get over it. But here's what irks me. How the fuck are the birds presumably the most bird-hipped of any dinosaur, a lizard-hipped dinosaur? Now, I get it. There's some scientific technicality here, but like, come on. That's some stupid juice, and I think I know who's sipping it. Some dinosaurs may have lived 300 years. Determining the maximum age of a dinosaur is a tricky thing. It's tough to figure out how old a fossil was when it died, let alone how many years it might have had left before Jesusaurus Rex would have whisked them away to dino heaven. But if you think that will stop the scientists from theorizing, then you are dead wrong. Closely related animals and species with similar lifestyles can be used alongside fossil clues to get a rough estimate for a dinosaur's lifespan. Widely ranging estimates have been put forward, with some dinosaurs like hadrosaurs living a measly 10 to 20 years. Not that many would make it that far anyway, before being torn limb from limb by a theropod, But hey, a dinosaur can dream. A large theropod could expect to live a little longer, about 30 to 40 years. But sauropods seem to be the most contentious. Many scientists argue that they would live anywhere from 40 to 100 years old, assuming they get past the whole growing up thing without getting murked. However, some have proposed that these animals could live to be up to 300 years old. Which begs one question that I'm sure you're already pondering. How much poop does that equal? Well, if you'd kindly direct your attention to my sophisticated calculations, an Argentinosaurus could output 42,413,000 pounds of shit in its long, miserable, and poopy little life, which is a lot.
That is one big pile.
She sells seashells. By the shore. You probably heard this little tongue twister before in elementary school, or perhaps that one song. But did you know the story behind it? Mary Anning was a self-taught and very skilled paleontologist in the 1800s. She definitely could have gone pro and wasn't given the credit she deserved, because in 19th century England, Christian males were kinda gatekeeping the whole dinosaur digging business, so she wasn't allowed in the club. Instead, she would search the beaches near her home and find many, many fossils, including the first specimens of Ichthyosaurus and the first complete Plesiosaurus. She ended up selling these fossils, including shells, at her shop, presumably down by the seashore, or so it was said. She was a real girl boss of paleontology, supporting herself with this fossil business. She was said to have a deep and intimate understanding of the science, but because at this point in history women weren't real yet, the paleontologists she sold her fossils to often got to describe the specimens. But hey, Mary Anning will live on, because at least she got a banger of a tongue twister. Remind me again, did Martin Luther King get one of those? The History of the Oviraptor. I was originally going to make a short about this one, so before I dive in deeper, let's take a look at some lost dinosaur facts media. Oviraptor was first discovered in 1924. It was a bird-like dinosaur. That's as far as I got. You see, way back in the day, there was this guy named Roy Chapman Andrews. You know he's a big deal because he went by all three names. And he was. He was one of the greats of paleontology and actually the inspiration for Indiana Jones. In 1924, Andrews discovered the first specimen of a new species atop a clutch of eggs. So like the police officer that found a felony amount of meth in my car, the paleontologists assumed the worst and forever branded this creature a villain, Oviraptor, the egg thief. The lowest of the low, the mangy hyenas of the dinosaur kingdom, the stealer of children and the leading cause of prehistoric divorce. But after some time, a scientist took a second look at the eggs it was discovered alongside and made a revolutionary discovery. It was their own fucking eggs. This whole time, not a thief, but a protector. One that laid atop its eggs through a sandstorm and refused to leave its children even if it meant its own death. That is breaking the cycle. The Oviraptor, like many other dinosaurs, except sauropods, fucking deadbeats, was actually an amazing parent, and to have their name dragged through the mud all these years is sickening. There's a moral in there somewhere. Unfortunately though, due to the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, or ICZN for short, you can't just change the name of an organism because you feel like it. So Oviraptor it remains, a dumbass misnomer that could be easily amended, but because science is a cult, it will remain as it is, along with the other stupidly named dinosaurs. Humans and T-Rex are closer in time than T-Rex and Stegosaurus. I don't think most people have enough fucking appreciation for how long the dinosaurs not only lived on this planet, but dominated every single role in the ecosystem. The first dinosaurs that we know of appeared in the early Triassic, somewhere between 230 and 240 million years ago. They proceeded to populate the rest of the planet and rule with an iron claw until the very end of the Cretaceous, 66 million years ago. So if the little man inside my calculator is not mistaken, that adds up to somewhere around 170 million years of dinosaur domination. Do you have any idea how much time that is? 170 million years ago, your mom wasn't even born yet. There is more time between the time that Stegosaurus was alive and the time that T-Rex was alive than there is between the T-Rex and ourselves. Is that not bonkers to you? For reference, It's about 2.5 million years since Homo habilis stumbled out upon the African plains for the first time, or 300,000 years since modern humans did. Maybe the lifespan of a single dinosaur species. But unfortunately, we don't have an abundance of human species to fall back on if we go extinct, on account of them conveniently disappearing all at once when we hit the scene. Now you may think, in that dipshit caveman brain of yours, human smart, so human live longer, which is a fair argument, I must say, but I think literally me from the new Jurassic World movie put it best.
I'm too smart to die.
You know, intelligence is massively overrated as an adaptive trait. Dinosaurs, pretty dumb, right? And yet they've survived for 167 million years. And we, Homo sapiens, geniuses, by comparison, only have about 200,000 years so far. But with our huge cranial cavities, we're so smart, we already have the capacity to annihilate ourselves. We don't rule the Earth. We just think we do. And sure, we're changing the environment, but that makes us the ones to worry about, not the planet. When the Earth gets tired of us, believe me, it will shake us off like a summer cold. Of all species that have existed on Earth, 99.9% of them are now extinct. Survival is a long shot.
We don't know what color dinosaurs were. The fossilization process is a fickle thing. It only really likes to keep records of the hard stuff. Teeth, bones, poop, you get it. And unfortunately, it is our only record of the biological history of our planet. Because of that, there are many things that we simply cannot know about dinosaurs, at least with current paleontological methods. How fat they were, how stinky, which dinosaurs were assholes and which ones were chill. All things we can't really know for sure. We just have to make guesses based on the bone structure, the environment the fossils were found in, and clues from modern relatives and animals that live similar lifestyles. Skin is very rarely fossilized, and pigmentation is more like 1 in a billion. And tragically, this means we may never know what color many dinosaurs really were. Except for the ones I'm about to yap about. Fortunately for all the dino nerds out there, a couple of exceptional fossil discoveries have given us some insight into the coloration of certain dinosaurs. In 2010, paleontologists from China announced that they had found melanosomes, pigments used in many animals to determine coloration, in the fossilized feathers of a Sinosauropteryx, a small compsognathid from the forests of early Cretaceous China. Turns out, this little bastard was covered in reddish-orange feathering on most of its body, similar to the color of my toilet after a trip to McDonald's, as well as lighter white feathering on its belly, face, and stripes going down its tail, like a mangy raccoon. Another early Cretaceous dinosaur, Borealopelta, was found in Alberta, so well preserved it's technically a mummy rather than a fossil. Well, praise Ra, because this specimen is something special. This dinosaur seems to have died and been buried in a shallow sea almost immediately after death. Not only preserving its skeleton in pristine condition, but also its skin and soft tissue. It basically looks like how it did in real life, which is fucking crazy. Scientists studied the pigmentation left behind in the skin and determined it was a brown-red color in real life, with a lighter underside. Kaihong, a bird-like dinosaur from late Jurassic China, was colored like a hummingbird, with iridescent feathers covering its body. It was mostly black, with brightly colored portions on the neck and face, likely greens, blues, or purples. Psittacosaurus, the best understood dinosaur to science of all, was colored in dark browns and oranges to camouflage into the desert sands. And finally, Anchiornis was covered in black and white feathers, with a big red crest on their head to show that they're compensating for something. Anchiornis have been discovered lacking the red coloration as well, leading scientists to believe that this is an example of sexual dimorphism, meaning for this dinosaur, we actually know specifically what the guys and gals looked like. So, yep, we are currently living through the dinosaur renaissance. While it may sound like a shitty episode of Rick and Morty, the dinosaur renaissance was a very real thing. Kicked off in 1964 by John Ostrom's naming of Deinonychus, where the link between dinosaurs and birds was turned from pseudoscience to pseudo-fact. This changed our idea of dinosaurs as big, sluggish, cold-blooded lizards to agile, warm-blooded creatures like mammals or birds. Thus began a momentous shift in ideas ideas about dinosaur physiology, evolution, behavior, and much more. Before this shift, one new genus was described each year. After, this number increased to about 6. While many scientists consider the dinosaur renaissance to be over, I would argue that when you compare that age to today, it is difficult to say we aren't in a new golden age of dinosaur discovery. Modern-day paleontology has many more tools at their disposal. CT scans and computer modeling let scientists gain an in-depth understanding of bones and their mechanics without damaging the fossils themselves. New ways of studying dinosaurs are being explored, so we can figure out things fossils can't tell us, like what they sounded like, how they lived, and even what color they were. Wait, we said that one already. There are more than 10,000 paleontologists worldwide now, putting out new studies every day that affirm or completely pound the established scientific consensus into the floor. And with new companies like Colossal, I fucking love these guys, please hire me, making historic strides in prehistoric DNA analysis, conservation, and de-extinction. Let me say that again for the people in the back. They have brought extinct creatures back from the fucking dead. These people are the closest we will ever get to goddamn necromancers. And when we compare the 6 genera named every year in the 1960s to today, where an average of 50 genera are named every year, just short of 1 every week. Not even close. So when you look out upon the political, economic, environmental, ideological, governmental, systemic, and interpersonal issues we see across the world today, just remember, at least the dinosaurs are doing well. That's all I got for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot. Let me know some of your favorite random dinosaur facts in the comments. And while you're there, if you dropped a like and a subscribe, I would be just overjoyed. That's about all. Bye.